So Holland started in 2006, the end of 2006, modeled after a project I worked with in Seattle called the Vera Project. And I moved to Reno to start what would become Holland with a friend of mine, Joe Ferguson, who owned Sound and Fury Records. So he's kind of an activist, musician, and had long sort of dreamed about a project like this. And when I learned of Vera in Seattle and started volunteering and working with them, it seemed like the perfect mold to implant here, sort of with Joe's on-the-ground work, I guess, and inspiration, and then the knowledge of a working, successful organization in Seattle. So that happened in 2006. The city of Reno gave us a building on Keystone Avenue. It was a big, like, airplane hangar-looking warehouse thing, no real walls, just metal and stuff, but we spent a bunch of us, there's probably a good core of like 50 people at that time volunteering and believing in what this would become, which essentially then was just an all-ages arts and music project. It didn't have a name yet. It didn't have like a full-on kind of business or strategic plan on how we were going to do that. We used a lot of Vera's materials to sort of start that process, but we started working on the space, building a stage and a gallery and stuff like that. After about like 6 months of volunteer work and kind of collectively figuring out how we wanted to run this thing as a democracy, committee-based, volunteer-based, all-ages arts and music project, we settled on a name and we opened the place and we had our opening event there, and pretty quickly we were shut down. And then that started a long path or journey of utilizing lots of different spaces around town. Largely, we are down for everything. We think that there are enough people and enough things, enough interests and genres and corners of this community that all want a place and a piece of participation in, the greater Reno, Sparks, whatever, Truckee Meadows arts community. And so mostly, for us, it feels like there's a lot of harmony. Occasionally, I think just because Reno's small, it taps people out, and it taps organizations out, or there's weird sort of, not tension, I guess, but it's hard to do this much, when we're all sort of pulling from the same people or whatever. So for us, we always defer to collaboration and partnership and whatever, because it helps us out and it makes our events stronger. But yeah, there's lots to be said about that for sure, and Holland over the years will probably have different opinions about it. People within Holland have different opinions about it, from an art standpoint or a music standpoint, or just a cultural community standpoint. But we work really closely with a lot of the organizations that exist. So yeah, I think that there's lots to be said about that, in big and small ways,